Thank you very much for saying, Elizabeth, that you can't hear anything. Now I've switched on my video and my microphone. So now I hope you can hear me now. Thank you for that, for saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, so let me begin again and say what we are doing here. My name is Brahm Memone. I'm from Leadership Speak Toastmasters Club, and I've been around for 29 years in Toastmasters. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for saying that and engaging in the chat and letting me know. Somehow it inadvertently closed the microphone. So now I've been here in Toastmasters for 29 years, and I bring some, of course, skills that I've learned over the past 29 years to this particular training here. Now, this training is if I may go back a little here. So this particular training is, of course, today is all about how to create a growth mindset in Toastmasters. Why? Because growth mindset is missing in Toastmasters, right? Now, why is growth mindset missing in Toastmasters is we are, in a way, very nervous about speaking in public, number one. And when we get feedback, we take that feedback very personally rather than grow from the feedback. And people are tippy-toeing around each other and not really growing. They might grow in the first 1, 2, 3 speeches, maybe the first level in pathways. But after that, the growth begins to get stunted as the evaluations aren't what they are supposed to be, number one. But number two, it's the personal development of how to grow a mindset that gets you to grow and become a learner, an open, receptive learner. So this particular workshop today is a prelude to Any Club Can Thrive, Any Member Can Succeed, which is, of course, on July the 21st and July the 22nd. I will be speaking on both the days. Now, what will I be talking about? There's a lot to talk about. Actually, I can talk for a few days on how to create and maintain a club at a level where it begins to thrive into the foreseeable future. I find that new clubs are being created in Toastmasters, but they have a big churn rate because we are not able to get that traction in membership. So there's 3 types of leaderships that I'll be talking about in the coming next week, Monday and Tuesday. Today, I'm going to just talk about the growth mindset and the learning mindset. Today is a live stream. Next week, on July the 21st and 22nd, will be on Zoom. The Zoom is limited to only 100 people. Before, I used to have 1,000 people and more. We've just restricted to 100 people. Those who can get into the Zoom will come into the Zoom so they can ask me questions and speak to the speakers directly. The rest of you will, of course, will be on live stream on YouTube next week. It's better to attend on Zoom, so please register. Now, where do you register? If you look at this particular live stream today and go to the description, just scroll down. If you're on your I think even on the device, iOS device, Android device, Apple device, your cell phone is what I mean, or even your desktop, I believe if you scroll down, you will see a link for next week coming up, July the 21st and 22nd. Click that link and register yourself. And of course, it's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, which is Toronto, New York. I'll just switch off this. So it's on Toronto, New York time, 11:30 a.m. -4 UTC. That's the timing. So please make sure that you check your local time and attend on those days. Now, who are the other speakers, by the way? So the other speakers are going to be Rosie Rana is going to be speaking on Tuesday, and Tony Breshett here, who is a lawyer and a past district governor. He's the past district governor of District 86. Leadership Speak is in District 86. I'm in District 86, which is in Canada. And Tony will be talking about a very important subject that you don't want to miss. What is that he's going to talk about? Well, he's going to talk about how clubs make up rules Instead of reading the club constitution, instead of reading the protocols and the guidelines and following the 4 values of Toastmasters International, which we all know what they are: integrity, respect, service, and excellence, clubs tend to make up their own rules as to how clubs should be, and therefore they restrict themselves in what they can do. And the reason why Leadership Speak is able to color outside the lines and still be ethical and integrity and completely follow the Toastmasters International program is because we follow the protocols, the guidelines, the club constitution. We even know the Robert's Rules of Order to the T. And Tony here knows all about that. All right. So make sure to attend on Monday. I will be speaking first about the 3 types of leadership that you really need to know. And then Tony will come on and talk about the club rules and what really stops clubs from thriving because they're making up their own rules in their head because they haven't checked the real rules that really govern us. And the rules have the ability to make you thrive out and become outstanding clubs. So you need to know the rules. Without the rules, you will not be able to do what you really need to do. And then Rosie Rana, of course, on Tuesday, she will be speaking on how to thrive, taking the skills that you learn in Toastmasters into the real world. Now, why Rosie will be talking about that? Rosie is a PhD in business. That is right. Not only an MBA, a master's in business administration, but a PhD in business. And she is the managing director of a large coffee company in Kenya. She is a medalist past distinguished director of District 114, President's Citation, right? A distinguished Toastmaster as well, and a member of Leadership Speak, which is in District 86 as well. She's the founder of District 114 in East Africa, and she lives in Nairobi, Kenya. And so you don't want to miss her presentation because she knows a thing or two about how Toastmasters can help you become a better communicator and an effective leader in the real world, not at the small level, but at the highest level possible. She is the managing director of a large coffee company, right? So she knows a thing or two about business. Now, having said that, let's move on to today's workshop on how to develop a growth mindset. Ready? Okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'll try and see if I can move a little bit to the side. So let me see if I can do that so that you can see a bit more of what's going to be written here. And so my hand might disappear from time to time, as you can see. But let's see if we can do that. All right. Let's see if my technology is working. I can see the chat here is flowing smoothly. That means my chat is working. Thank you, Lifetime Skills, Lily Taylor, Elizabeth, Hannah, for all your comments. I'm just reading them. And somebody is saying 11:30 a.m. Toronto is 15:30 GMT time. Thank you very much for doing that for us. Okay. So let's develop a growth mindset. Now, what is that growth mindset? Let's see if it works. Let's see if things work. Okay. So we'll get this show ready. We'll get the show ready. Make sure, of course, to make sure that you do subscribe to this channel. That was the next message I wanted to talk about. Please subscribe because this is a relatively brand new channel that I've created. Before, I used to have my own channel, which was, of course, my business channel. I was using that for Toastmasters business as well as my own business. And so now this channel I had created when I was the club growth director a few years ago, and we'll be using this particular channel for Toastmasters business. Here you will find international presidents videos, world champions of public speaking videos, which I'll be posting on a very regular basis. And you will be very interested to know what they're talking about, right? So please do subscribe to this channel. Okay, so let's go on with our business. And see what we are talking about. How to develop a growth mindset. Those small ripples can create big waves when you totally open your mind to learning, and rather than being defensive and not and arguing with your evaluators, or not taking in the evaluation well, not going into the pathways and reading the whole project well, will not get you to be a fast track mindset. The learning mindset requires that you read the project in pathways and understand what that project is. It is not the legacy program. If those of you who were in the legacy program years ago, and if you're still a member, I know some of you don't read those projects, you still think you are in the legacy program. Don't do that, because this is more like a project rather than just something that you read a couple of pages and come up and do a speech. This is really meant for those people who really want to thrive as speakers and speak confidently as leaders. Right? This is what Pathways is really devised for. So now, how can we make use of that? So the big question is, to be a learner, what are the things we really need to look at as Toastmasters, who really need to understand a mindset? So let me just check my chat here. It's going perfect. Okay, so what is growth mindset? Number one, we have to distinguish between failures and mistakes. Toastmasters are normally so frightened, afraid, and nervous of making a mistake, and they get frozen. They get frozen, and it affects their speaking. Even after they finish the level 1, level 2, level 3, and they're going on to the level 4, they're afraid to make a mistake, or when they do make a mistake, they might even argue with the evaluator, or they will discount their evaluator. So here's the thing. There are no failures and there are no mistakes in Toastmasters. You have to remember, the only failure, the only mistake, and I will explain that in the next slide, is to quit. There are no failures, there are no mistakes, because remember this, when you were a baby, guess what did you do? You stood up for the first time ever and took the first step. You probably might have taken the second step and fell down. And what did your parents do? What sort of evaluation did you get from your parents? Yay, our baby is starting to walk. Of course, that was encouragement. And they didn't have, how could you do better? But sometimes your parents were overzealous and they held your hand and made you walk a little bit more so that you could practice, right? That was feedback on how you could do better. Now, as a baby, when you fell down on your bum, with a soft landing, hopefully, you did not quit. Now, those of you who met me personally, you will see there's a big gash here that is still there, marks from the time I was a baby, and I used to fall down and dig my chin. My mother used to tell me that mark there is you very often the same table on the bottom of the table there was a leg, a protruding leg, and you'd bang your chin against that and you broke your chin over and over, and that mark still remains here. So this beard hopefully hides it well. I didn't quit, right? In spite of all the blood and the bandages that my mom used to stick on me as a baby. We don't quit, do we? There's no failure and no mistake unless we quit. Unless the baby says, I fell down, I keep falling down a couple of times, I'm not going to walk anymore. I'll see later on, maybe when I'm 5 years old, I'll try again. You know what I mean, right? But as adults, when we become adults and we become Toastmasters, guess what? We forget that. Right? We totally forget that. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a learning experience. A baby has a learning experience. They fall down, they pick themselves up, and they have a learning experience. So what is that learning experience? They learn how to walk better the next time over. That's the learning experience they're going through, right? And they will keep trying, over and over and over again until they succeed. Very soon, within a few months, they'll be running across the room and then fall flat. And within a couple of 3-4 months, they'll be running and not falling at all on their tippy toes. As adults, we've forgotten how to do that. We become very defensive. We try to deny. We try to push back. We are not receptive. When we get feedback, our ego comes up. That's because we are all wired for survival. And those survival mechanisms come into being as we grow older through experiences, through the conditioning, through our parents and our caregivers and our schools telling us, you must behave this way, you must do this and this and this, X, Y, Z. Otherwise, sit in a corner or you're punished. Some of you were hit. And now you don't know how to learn. That was actually counterproductive sometimes, the punishment or the judgments you received or the experiences, whatever you had in the mind that you made up. It'll be safer to lie low and take only a small step at a time, very slowly, stick my neck out a little bit slowly. And you develop that mindset by the age of 7 or 8. You had already made up that mind that this is what you will do to survive in the world. And now for the rest of your time, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, you're carrying that mindset over and over and over again. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you really need to trace back or really wipe out that sort of a mindset and recreate a mindset that is a learning mindset. And we are going to look into how to create that in this particular training. Now, Toastmasters is all based on experiential learning. Like a baby. Like a baby, it's all experiential learning. A baby gets up, starts walking, falls down, gets up, starts walking, falls down. And it's in total joy. And if that's what you bring to Toastmasters, okay, should I say become a baby Toastmaster? What you got to do is have that sense of awe and discovery and creativity and openness and discover something new about yourself, which is why you are here in Toastmasters, to discover and to experience something new by doing it rather than just somebody telling you. There's no lectures here, right? In a meeting, in a club meeting, we all get up and do by learning something beforehand and coming and doing that in a meeting and getting feedback and improving ourselves. That is the way the program is devised. In front of our peers, in front of guests who may have come to the club, we should be willing it's not failures. We should be learning those learning experiences. So now let's distinguish between what are these things? What does failure mean? What does mistake mean? What's the learning experience? Let's define these. These are very, very important, okay? Here's the definition. The definitions are simply this. A failure is the only failure is the failure to participate. Sorry, the only failure is the failure to participate, to quit the game, to become inactive. If you have become inactive in your club, if you're not speaking often, if you're not engaging in your club on a regular basis, then I would call that a failure, because the platform is available, your mentors are available, all the Toastmasters are available. A timer will be made available for you. A grammarian will be made available for you. A Toastmaster of the day will be made available for you. A general evaluator will be made available for you. And an evaluator will be made available for you so that you can participate in the game and speak. Or take on the grammarian role, the counter role, or the quiz master role, the table topic master role, whichever role you take on. Make sure you get feedback and ask for feedback, right? If you don't, and you sort of step back and say, oops, I made a mistake. I'm not going to do this role ever again. Have you heard that? I have heard this many times in my 29 years in Toastmasters. Many times. People say, oh, I got such a bad feedback. Rather than, oh, wow, I didn't know about that. How can I improve myself? Oh, let me go and talk to my evaluator or whoever said this is where I can improve. Let me just go and talk to them and ask for clarification. Now you become a baby Toastmaster. You know what I mean, right? So there's no failures except if you fail to participate, if you fail to ask, you quit the game, you become inactive, you failed. Otherwise, there's no failure. So, but then what are mistakes then? Well, mistake is once you get a feedback, but you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. You keep doing the thing over and over and over again, the same thing many, many times. You get the feedback. Your evaluator will stand up again and say, the last time you spoke, you made these mistakes. You made this mistake over your past several speeches. And I still see this error happening. Well, hopefully they'll say this error is happening. This is what you could really improve if you sort of take time to make sure that you learn this before you come and speak the next time. And please have a mentor, or I am ready to mentor you. That's what the evaluator should be saying. Or if they don't, go and ask them, can you please help me with this? I'm making this mistake over and over again. Yeah, I want to get over this hump. How do I do this? Well, here's how you do that even if you don't ask anyone, is to have a mentor, or if not, begin to practice. These days, we all have Zoom that can record, right? A free Zoom account, a free recording. Practice your speech on Zoom, record it, and then play it back. I know several members in Leadership Speak do that. Our current Vice President of Education, Nicole White, she does that all the time. She records herself on Zoom, especially when she's doing those 20-minute presentations. That's what we do at Leadership Speak. We always have one 20-minute presentation every time. So she records herself. And then she's fine-tunes her presentation. So when she presents, you see that her presentation is A+. So that's how she avoids the mistakes. Okay, so what are the other definitions then? Learning experience. This is what we are here all about, right? In Toastmasters, to learn. These are all learning experiences. They are not failures. They are not mistakes. We are not feeling embarrassed. We are not feeling guilty. We are not feeling ashamed. We are learning. A baby doesn't feel embarrassed. It doesn't feel guilty. It doesn't sort of beat up on itself. It doesn't have self-worth issues. It doesn't have the imposter syndrome. It is only learning, purely learning, and that's all a baby is doing. It has an open, receptive learning mindset. It's expanding, it's integrating its skills every day. When it took that first step, stood up and took that first step and fell down, it was in total awe of its potential and what the baby could possibly do in the future, right? And so when you first step up and do your icebreaker or your level 5 professionally speaking presentation, be in awe of who you really are and that potential that you're trying to express, and you are on your way to expressing that potential. Once you've finished your level 5, do the second pathway, do the third pathway before you do your DTM. Keep learning, keep doing all those speeches that are not mandatory. Those are the ones that you have to choose, like in level 3, right? There's like a number of speeches that you can choose: storytelling, inspire your audience, how to persuade, right? Slides, and there's like how many, 15, 20 different electives that you can do. Choose one at a time and keep speaking. And once you've spoken at your club and you've gotten several evaluations, several different presentations, go to another club locally, or go to a club on Zoom. There's so many clubs still on Zoom, and they're looking for speakers. Go and speak there. And the more you do this like a baby, the baby will not stand up and walk. And the next day it'll say, I'll rest a couple of days. I'll rest for a month, and then I'll do the next one, my next few steps later on. That's it. It's consistent. Every day they get up and they step forward. Every day they are in like awe of themselves and full of joy and like discovering, oh my goodness, this is the potential that I have. Right? It's so intuitive. Let's not forget that skill, that ability to learn. And guess what? It is all experiential learning. It's hands-on learning, and we learn by emulating and doing, and finally finding our own style, which is the autonomy. Let me explain to you how and what I mean by this. This is very, very important. And why is this very important? Here's the reason why it's very important. This particular thing, what I say here is hands-on learning by emulating is you will see other speakers who are ahead of you, who've been in Toastmasters for a while, and they have more skills, they have more presence, they know how to gesture, they know how eye contact, they know how to move around, either on the stage in physical meeting or on a Zoom, and they demonstrate that. And you say, oh, wow, I like to speak like that. And so you begin to emulate them. Okay, sure, no harm done. You are just beginning, you're trying to find your way. So you might begin to emulate a few speakers that you see either in Toastmasters or in the real world. All right. But you're not a Tony Robbins, right? Yet. You're not Brahm Memone yet. Maybe you are. Maybe you're better than me. But here's the thing. Okay, so you emulate somebody, but guess what? Finally, as you present more and more often and consistently, you will begin to find your own style. And when you begin to find your own style of presentation, you gain autonomy. You're not copying anymore anybody. You become authentic. This is the time when you can go on to win contests. When you find your own style and create your own stories and know how to express your stories well. I find that speakers in leadership speak. There's so many speakers that in their areas, in their divisions, and in their districts, they're champions. And they win contests all the time. Once they found their own style, and they are going through learning experiences, not through failures and mistakes, but learning experience and keep learning, they begin to win contests. Some of our members in Leadership Speak want to be world champions of public speaking. We are training them how to become a world champion of public speaking. Yeah. Because they've mastered a growth mindset. You can become a powerful speaker in no time at all. In no time at all. Just like a baby. Within a few months, it's running on its tippy toes, right? And its arms are swinging up and it's running. And it's full of joy and glee because it's discovered something entirely different. Within the year, they're running even faster and better. And by the time you are 16, 17 years old, if you are a runner, you can run 100 meters, right? In I believe, under 10 seconds. I think the world record currently by Usain Bolt is around 9 seconds or so, right? Guess what? Usain Bolt, when he ran, sprinted in 9 seconds, 100 meters. He was not there. He was not there. He was not there. Boom. He found his own style, became a world champion, made millions of dollars. This training is not about making millions of dollars, but you could. You could become a professional speaker and go ahead and do that. Or you can rise in your organization and become a top-notch speaker and presenter in your organization. Doesn't matter what organization it is, and get that promotion and get paid and promoted and positioned well in your organization through your communication skills and the ability to stand up and speak with confidence, conviction, and credibility. You need to have a growth mindset. Now, having said that, let's look at what it really means as a Toastmaster and how should we view Toastmasters as. Okay, so here's a few questions. First, we have to look at the key context of what we are here for, to develop that growth mindset. Okay, we have to answer the question, what is a Toastmasters Club? What is it? Now, it says club here, right? So you say, yeah, it's a Toastmasters club. It's a Toastmasters club. I go there and speak and communicate, and I can become better if I have a learning mindset, right? But really, what is the Toastmasters Club is it is really a study group. It's not a social group. I know a lot of Toastmasters meet like social groups, but if they meet like social groups, what they do is they put a glass ceiling over themselves and they're just meeting to socialize, to do a couple of speeches, to have fun. But really, I'm talking to those who are not considering Toastmasters as a social group. They're considering this as a social, I mean, as a study group where they've come together to study something. And what are we studying? Through a formalized agenda every week or every 2 weeks. Leadership Speak meets every week on a Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every week, except for the last week in the year, which is close to the new year. It's an advanced club. Most advanced clubs meet twice a month or every other week. We meet every week. And the agenda is always full. We treat it as a study group. We treat ourselves as a team. We are a team coming together. And what are we studying? We are studying communication leadership first. And how are we studying this communication leadership? SDL. Remember, SDL means self-directed leader. This program is based on being self-directed. Don't wait for somebody to tell you when are you doing your next speech, your VP of Education trying to chase you down. A parent never chases his baby. Hey, are you going to walk today? When are you going to walk? Stand up, start walking. No, that doesn't happen. Why does that happen in a Toastmasters club? Why does your vice president of education have to push you? What happened? Do you put up your hand and say, I want to speak this week? I will do 3 levels this year. I want to be a triple crown this year. How many of you here want to be a triple crown this year? So if you want to become a triple crown, put that in the chat. All right. And let's have a look at what you really want to do. So we are studying as self-directed leader. Okay. And if we are a self-directed leader, then what? It means you come prepared. You're self-directed. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You come prepared to the meeting. If you're doing a presentation, you should have planned it, prepared it, practiced it, and then come and present. If you have a mentor, ask your mentor, hey, can I come and practice with you? Or like I said before, record yourself on Zoom. Nicole White does that all the time in Leadership Speak. So come prepared to the study group and then present it, because you are a team. In a study group, when you're all studying together, the agenda is made up of Toastmaster of the day, grammarian, quizmaster, table topics, journal evaluators, and so on and so forth. And you may have other roles in your club. And if none of them have come prepared as to what they are doing that particular week, and I see that a lot in a lot of clubs, it happens. I get invited to clubs all over the world. And just before the meeting is starting, the Toastmaster of the day says, oh, am I the Toastmaster of the day? Oh, what's the theme today? Oh, who's the timer? Not prepared. Oh, who's the timer? Somebody will say, oh, this was supposed to be the timer. Oh, is he here? Oh, the timer isn't here. The timer isn't here? You know, that happens. Does it happen in your club? Share that in the chat. Share that in the chat. Thank you. So come prepared to the study group so that, you know, you're serving each other as you present your role. Whether it's a speaker, grammarian, Toastmaster of the day, general evaluator, whatever it is that you're doing, come prepared, come to and know what you're doing. That adds quality to the club. That means retention. That means the club gets better. You get more quality members. You get quality meetings, and that is what you really want, don't you? You want quality meetings, so your focus is on learning and not on who's where and who's doing what. You don't want your focus to be on that. This is what I'm going to talk about next week, about the 3 stages of leadership. And so a quality meeting falls under the first stage of leadership. The very first primary is more managerial than anything else, and I'll be talking about that next week. Okay, so the link is in the chat, right, for next week, July 21st and July 22nd. Make sure that you scroll down, click on that link, and register yourself on Zoom. And only 100 people will be allowed on Zoom. The rest will all, of course, have to watch online on YouTube. If you're on Zoom, you'll be able to interact live with the guests, and you'll be able to talk to the guests and myself live on Zoom. Only 100 people. This time you're totally restricting it. We used to have 500, 600,000 people on Zoom before. We've done those sort of events, but this time we are going to just restrict to 100 people. Okay. So now make sure that when you go to your club meeting, and it's not a club meeting, it's a study group, right? It says right there, it's a study group. So you are a team. You are a community of people that's come together to study something. And so if you've ever been in a university and you go to a study group, you've created a study group with your classmates, everyone comes prepared to a certain extent. And then, you open your books, you sit around a circle in a table and begin to discuss, right? If you've ever been to university, or if you have been recently to university, you probably have done something similar. Hopefully you have. And if not, that's fine, but you know what I mean, right? You've seen that in movies or on YouTube videos and so on about how study groups get together to study. You've seen us in a Toastmaster. We come together to study. It's a different format. We don't sit in a circle, but we sit in a U-shaped normally, or semicircle, right? And there's a Toastmaster of the day at the front at the podium with a lectern, right? And he conducts the meeting and calls everyone up to present their role. We are all studying and evaluating and learning experientially. But if you're prepared, you run an excellent meeting, which means the guests will see a great meeting, which means they will register. You want more people who are better at, who see the club quality, and when they come and join, they too will follow your suit, and the club will become great at what it does. That's what you really want, right? And that's when experiential learning becomes a joy. It begins with you. All right, so let's go on. Prepared, yes. All right. So self-directed leader. This program is totally based on being self-directed. Just like a baby is totally self-directed. It has got an innate will to study, to become a person that will walk and run and thrive. That's what a baby is. It's programmed for that. You are programmed to learn, actually, but you forgot along the way through the conditioning that if you do a certain mistake, you'll be punished. And now you have unlearned how to become a learner. Now you have to relearn how to become self-directed and learn on your own accord. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your journey. You have to relearn that as an adult, unfortunately, but you have to. And I'm so glad this program is based on being self-directed. And that is the only reason why we pay $60 to Toastmasters International, because it's a self-directed program. If we had professional people from Toastmasters International who were paid to come to your club to teach you, you would be paying a lot of money, $3,000-4,000 more to learn. Who can afford that? And that would be for 2 or 3 weeks, which is what professional speaking programs do. They charge you a lot of money, teach you for 3-4 weeks, maybe a few months even, on a monthly class, and then what will they tell you? I see this all the time. They will tell you, now go to Toastmasters and practice. That's right. So it's all about leadership. It's taking the initiative. That is the key word. You have to make the commitment, the time commitment that is needed to study before you come to a meeting, right? Now, you were not, before you joined Toastmasters, guess what? You were not like one day twiddling your thumb and saying, this is Thursday evening. I've got nothing to do. What shall I do? Oh, yeah, I hear I can go and learn how to speak. Maybe I should do that. That's has been on my bucket list for the past 10 years. Let me go and learn how to speak. I have got nothing to do on Thursday. Did that happen? No. You were busy all the time. There were things that you were doing, and now you want to join a Toastmasters club. You are in a Toastmasters club, and now you're going to those meetings on Thursday evening or whenever those meetings are for your club. So you have to carve up that time, right? 2 hours, 3 hours traveling back and forth, or if you're on Zoom, lucky you don't have to travel, and you can join your meeting. But then after the meeting, if you have had a role, you have to go back and say, okay, what did I do well here? How can I improve? And what did the evaluator say? Or what did I ask for feedback? And what sort of feedback did I get? And will I incorporate that into my next speech or role? That's time commitment. You have to carve out some time to study. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll begin to have this glass ceiling after your second or third level of doing what you are doing at Toastmasters, whatever that is for you. You'll have a glass ceiling and you will not improve. And I see that over and over again. I go to clubs where they say, oh, I've been a Toastmaster for 20 years. Probably they say, I've got 3 DTMs, 2 DTMs. But when I see their speaking skill, there's a glass ceiling. And they have not excelled. I get invited to a lot of advanced Toastmasters club to help them grow and to help them become better. Why? Because Leadership Speak, the club that I founded, is an advanced club, and the CEO, you're thriving and you got 50 plus members and you have 162 education awards. How did you do that? Teachers, right? They are not carving out the commitment and the time it takes to be a learner. To be a learner, you need the time commitment. So that's one. That's all about leadership, right? To commit to something and to follow through, to walk the talk, to say what you mean and mean what you say, model the way, as we say. It's all down to time commitment. Rosie will be talking a lot about some of these skills next week on Tuesday. I've mentioned this before. Plan, prepare, practice before you come to the meeting, before you come to the study group to present. Doesn't matter what role you have. Doesn't matter what role you have. And if this week you don't have a role, maybe last week you had a role. Like not everybody can have a role depending on the size of the club. If the club is smaller, like under 20 people, and you have 3 to 4 speakers, sure, you'll have a role every week, right? If it's a lunchtime club or a club that meets only for an hour, hour and a half, and even if you have 20 members, you probably won't have a role every week. But when you don't have a role, are you attending and are you watching what's going on and making notes to improve yourself? And then the feedback loop. Once you present it, there's always a feedback loop. And are you going to repeat the same mistakes? Are you going to repeat what the feedback you got and repeat the role again and do it better? Like a grammarian role, a Toastmasters role, account role, table topic role, whatever it is, right? Any role that you got a feedback and you want to do it better, do it next time around. As a speaker, of course, you're always going to make sure you speak on a very regular basis. Depending on the size of your club, I recommend you speak every 3 to 5 weeks. 6 weeks is like really stretching, okay? But it all depends on the size of the club as well. The bigger the club is, I hope that the meetings are 2 hours at least long if it's a large club of 30 members or more. Right? If it's 30 members or more and it's just an hour-long meeting, you will not be able to fit all the members unless you're meeting on other days as well, like Leadership Speak does. We meet 3 times a week. Officially, it's only on Saturdays, but we meet on other days, which is not mandatory, and it's where we train ourselves to speak better, to have better roles, and to become highly effective at evaluations. We do that on Tuesdays at 12 noon. Join up Leadership Speak, and you can be part of that. But the feedback loop is so important, and to make sure that once you got feedback, that you repeat the role or do the next speech incorporating the feedback, and make sure you get a next set of evaluation where you've improved, rather than making the same mistake over and over. If you're doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, you're making a mistake, really, which is the glass ceiling, right? I find this to be so invaluable, especially if you're in a community club and you don't have an accountability buddy or a mentor. Get one. Personally, myself, I go to the gym every morning, except for Saturday, which is where my club meets on Saturdays. I never miss a meeting. I'm always there for years and years and years. I've never missed a Toastmasters meeting ever. It's in my calendar. But let me talk about going to the gym. Every morning, 6 days a week, I go to the gym. I have an accountability buddy. He comes and picks me up. He just lives a little bit further up from where I am, drives up to my home. I sit in the car, we go off to the gym. By 7 o'clock, we're in the gym. That's our time. 7:30 sometimes. Right? I'm self-employed. I can sort of juggle my time a bit. The day that he says he's not able to make it, like last night, he didn't come. And for this morning, I had this particular workshop, so I didn't really go to the gym. And I was running out of time. And since he wasn't around, I just opted out. I didn't have an accountability buddy, right? If he had said, I'll be there at 7 o'clock and we'll just go quickly to the gym and come back so you can do what you have to do, I would have gone to the gym. Accountability buddy is so important, or a mentor is so important, especially if you're just starting out in Toastmasters. So there you go. Who is your mentor? Who's your accountability buddy? Is somebody looking after your journey? Have you asked people to help and support you? Are you helping somebody? Very important, right? If you are ahead of the game, you've done your level 3, begin to support and mentor others. Sometimes even after level 1, you can begin to mentor somebody who's just starting out, because you've done your icebreaker, you've done your first 5 presentations, you know how the club works. You've probably done a few roles. You've been a Toastmaster now for 6 months, hopefully, right? If you're speaking on every 3 to 4 weeks, 5 weeks, first level can be done in 6 months, right? If you pace yourself correctly. And be responsible. Responsibility is something that people hate. Why? Because responsibility means that you are now accountable. And people hate the word accountable as well, and responsibility, because now people used to tell you, aren't you responsible for this? Aren't you accountable? Why didn't you do this? As you were growing up, you made up your mind. Hey, if I stick my head out and become responsible and accountable, that's not the way I need to go. So what do? You become irresponsible. By not taking responsibility, you shun to be a self-directed leader. You don't know whether you're going to be at your Toastmasters club in the next few days. You don't know whether you'll take that role or not. You're hesitant. You haven't even told somebody that you will be going to the club, and you will do the role, and you are prepared. It's part of being self-directed, right? Commitment, planning, feedback, mentorship, and responsibility are all part of being self-directed, and help you become better self-directed, so that you keep walking and running like a baby does. This is how you develop a learning mindset. To help you along the way, you need these things here. Okay. Therefore, you have to develop micro habits. If that's what you're going to be doing, what are the micro habits, or how do you create micro habits? You got to create micro habits. If you carve out time during the week, this time is for meeting, this time is for preparing and planning and practicing my presentation or a role, which you have to. If you want to become good, you don't want to be in Toastmasters for 10, 15 years. Sure, you can be, but become very good at what you do. Become a legendary speaker rather than have that glass ceiling. I find Toastmasters who've been Toastmasters for 10, 15 years, and guess what? They'll stand up and speak and say, and the evaluator say, oh, you forgot the eye contact over here. You didn't move over here. Your opening wasn't attention grabbing 15 years later. At least you could have downpicked quite a lot of those. And now what you're really working on is how does it affect the audience? Is there an audience takeaway? And how am I inspiring the audience? And those sort of higher levels of things, right? It actually, you should be working on those after your first year, right? Speaking really professionally. If you develop those micro habits of instilling and practicing and preparing and not giving up and treating this as a learning experience and speaking on a consistent basis, which is what we are talking about here, it takes the initiative to be self-directed. Now, initiative takes a lot of energy. It is like pushing a car or driving a car or even a standstill car. If you're trying to push it, it takes up a lot of energy. You start to drive a car, it consumes a lot of fuel when it starts from standstill to start to accelerate. That's when it consumes the maximum amount of fuel. That's what a car does. It needs a lot of energy for the initiative, that initial movement, right? A lot of energy is consumed. But once the car starts to roll, whether you're pushing it or whether you're driving it and it's now going at a steady speed on the highway, it consumes much, much less gas. You know that if you're driving a car, you know that everybody who owns a car knows that or should know that. It is that acceleration. The faster you begin to accelerate, which is like intensity, you're not speaking consistently. So once every 6 months, you stand up and say, I'll be intense and I'll try and do this best speech ever I can. And you try, you lose a lot of energy. There's a lot of intensity involved. You don't need intensity. You don't need to put your foot on the pedal at the red light to outrun everybody else. You just have to be consistent. And you'll use less energy and become better within the year. In 2 years' time, you can be a very good speaker. Just 2 years. Consistency is the key. Are you consistent? Are you consistent? I'm pausing here because I really need you to get this. You really need to be consistent. Like a baby, it is consistent. Every day it'll stand up and walk. Doesn't matter how hard it falls. Doesn't matter how hard I fell and how much I bled. Mom said, I don't know why she allowed me to go under the table. Perhaps she wasn't watching me and I did. No, she wasn't a careless mother. She really got looked after well. But I was consistent no matter what happened. Whatever learning experiences, there were no mistakes or failures. And I have these marks since I was a baby. One day when you meet me, look at my chin, all right? So the other thing is discipline. Have the discipline. You know what? Come to think of it, I wasn't going to do this. Now that I'm talking about it, I will do a small event workshop again later on this week before we do the Monday thing, right? I will announce it at some point in time. So if you register, right? If you register, scroll down and register for the event coming up on 21st and 22nd, I will be sending out the Zoom reminder. And in that Zoom reminder somewhere, right, there will be the date and the time of the discipline workshop that I do, how to develop that mindset of having a discipline, okay? Lots of training I can provide. Over the years, I've learned so much from Toastmasters. Plus, I'm a professional speaker and trainer and a coach, certified, of course. So I know a thing or two about how things happen and what motivates people. So this coming up this week sometime, keep an open mind, all right? But you have to have discipline. A baby is very disciplined. It doesn't think it is disciplined, It is consistent. It does those things every day, regardless, no matter what the pain, because the gain is much better than the pain. If it is painful, of course, the baby doesn't think it's painful. It's like full of joy and glee and laughing and running and falling and getting up and doing it all over again. Be the baby, be the like that card, just go. Don't take up too much energy. To sort of reduce your energy, be consistent and be disciplined. Otherwise, you need a lot of energy every time. And so here's what most Toastmasters tend to do. They are not consistent and then they give up. Sometimes they will renew the membership and say, oh, I will start. I'll find some time. I will find some time. I'll try. Are the wrong words to use. You will not do it. I know that from 29, 30 years of experience. I know members talk themselves out of a program that costs only $60 US every 6 months, $120 US for the whole year. I'm telling you, it's all up to you to become self-directed like a baby is. So now, here's the other thing about learning mindset is begin to connect the dots. What do I mean by that? You are in Toastmasters, you're in a club. Study group is what I prefer to call it. You are in a study group. You've joined. What are you doing here? People lose sight of what they're doing in a Toastmasters club. They lose sight. So their presentations are not geared towards what am I learning here so that I can use it in the real world. They are not thinking of that. And you need to think of that. You really need to think of, if everything that I'm doing in Toastmasters is for the real world, what sort of presentations am I going to do here? Right? So it's a study group, right? It's all about communication and leadership. We have the Pathways program, right? And so you start your level 1, your level 2, your level 3, your level 4. But what am I doing here? Sure, when you're first starting out, if you're a brand new Toastmaster, you're doing an icebreaker, you're level 1, even your level 2, my leadership style, my communication style, and do I have a mentor or not, or listening skills, or whatever those things are, right? Depending on the path that you've chosen. Sure, you may not be able to connect the dot of what I'm doing here to how does it reflect in the real world, because I'm just learning. That's fine. But after you reach level 3, level 4, especially when you begin to reach level 4, you're suddenly faced with some projects. Now you got to begin to think, what am I doing here in leadership in Toastmasters? What am I doing in Toastmasters that gives me the ability to improve in the real world as a speaker, as a leader? And Rosie will, of course, be addressing part of that. She'll be addressing the behavior part of it, right? But that's the communication part. What sort of speeches am I going to do in leadership as a leader in Toastmasters, in my study group, that will improve my outside world skills? That's how you go to think. That's connecting the dots. And it's very necessary to do that. And therefore, you need a learning mindset for that. To think, what am I going to do in the real world? See, here you are, down here is the Toastmasters world. You're just beginning. Or if you're already in your journey, you've been a Toastmaster for 3, 4, 5 years, it doesn't matter. So consider yourself as you never thought of this. But eventually you got to think of what's in the real world and how am I going to be in the real world? When I stand up to speak in the real world, am I being heard? Am I speaking with confidence? Am I speaking with conviction and credibility, gaining the trust of my audience, inspiring the audience, or persuading the audience, or telling the audience something that they have a takeaway for, right? Doesn't matter whether you're in a social group, if you consider this as a social group or as a study group, I hope it is a study group, you think like that. And that develops your learning mindset. And therefore, we come to the vision alignment. Are you aligned with your vision, with the Toastmasters Club mission? And so the question is, we should always ask this question. In our club, we ask this question of every member. Before they want to join the club, we'll give you an eligibility form and we'll ask you, why do you want to join Leadership Speak? Right? Most Toastmasters club would say, don't ask that question. Hey, just get them on board. We don't. We have a mindset of abundance. We've got more than 50 members. Members really are queued up, lining up to join our club because of the quality and of things I'm talking about. And so you need to have a vision as to why are you in your study group? What's your vision? Why are you in this why are you in Toastmasters? So here's a tricky question, right? We have a club mission and we have a mandate. And the mandate is we provide a supportive and positive, I blanked out those words, in which members are empowered to develop, I blanked out those words, resulting in greater confidence and I blanked out that word. So what's that sentence there? I mean, what are the words there? Do you know? Put them in the chat. Let's have a look. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience. There you go. There it says learning experience is embedded in our club mission. Every club reads this club mission right before they start a meeting, or most clubs do. At Leadership Speak, we always read the club mission. Always. So we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Toastmasters. Learning experience, communication leadership, personal growth. Keywords in the club mission. It clearly says, have a learning mindset, grow personally, growth mindset, learning mindset, right? And you are learning communication and leadership skills. You're developing for greater self-confidence. You can only get this if you're consistent and you have the discipline. This is very, very important club mission. I was speaking at District 99 Club Growth event, and Daniel Rex, our CEO at Toastmasters International, was speaking after me. So he was present when I was doing my presentation. It was exactly a similar presentation to this presentation. And I brought this up when I ended, and he began his presentation. He said, I've never heard many people mention the club mission in their presentations. Brahm, why haven't we spoken together on a platform? I said, we'll make it happen soon. And I will. That's because of this. And I emphasized why it's so important. Learning experience, communication, leadership, personal growth, it's growth mindset. It's right embedded in our mission. Read this. When your club reads this, understand what it means and begin to apply it. And you will, in no time, within 2 years, I guarantee you, if you stick around for the next 2 years and apply everything I've said just in this particular workshop and what I'm going to say on the 21st and 22nd, you have no excuse for not becoming an amazing speaker, a great leader that people will look up to. That's a guarantee. Be aligned and congruent with the mandate, which is this mandate. Are you aligned and congruent? Are you arguing with Toastmasters International or your area director or your president, or arguing amongst yourself in the club? I find that a lot happening. I go to the Facebook group of Toastmasters International on Facebook, and I find a lot of people arguing about, I've been told to do a club success plan this year. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to put some bullshit in there. That's nonsense. You don't learn anything. Why are some people like arguing about creating a club success plan? It is so something that is so necessary to engage in. So this coming year, Toastmasters International had said, if you don't do a club success plan, you will not be getting the distinguished status. You have to do a club success plan because a lot of clubs don't do a success plan. We do. Very seriously, we create a club success plan. We follow that. Our distinguished plan is different from a club success plan, by the way. We distinguish the two. I'll be talking about that next week, by the way, in detail, and why, even if you are not an officer anywhere, it's so important to understand the DCP points in the club success plan because it affects how you are in your study group. So that's very, very important next week. All right. So here we go. real world scenarios, right? You need to understand this is my why. I'm going to share now why I am in Toastmasters and why after 29 years I'm still in Toastmasters. And I've developed that learning mindset that allows me to do this particular workshop for you for Toastmasters. And I've done so many different workshops for Toastmasters over the past 4 or 5 years. Thousands of Toastmasters have attended my events. The reason being, I'm learning to speak to a large number of people in my professional life, and I'm practicing. And that's why I'm still in Toastmasters. I get to practice here. I'm practicing a live stream today. I've done many other live streams, of course, but today in a different manner, right? And so, why am I in Toastmasters? You go look at why you are here. Okay, your why, your purpose, your vision, the alignment, and that gives you the direction. This is mine. I'll share to get confidence, conviction, and credibility. How I speak over and over again. Hopefully, I am speaking today with confidence, conviction, and credibility, and my knowledge comes through as to I've been in Toastmasters for 29 years, and it's coming through. Hopefully, right? Put that in the notes for me if what you think about that. All right. So that is my why, and I'm working at the GOAT level, greatest of all time level. And why not? In my club, people are working on the legendary level or excellence level. No one is working on mediocrity level. No one is working on just average or just good enough level. People are working on how can I be excellent? How can I be legendary? Some of them are working on how can I be a GOAT, the greatest of all time speaker. People have made after being in my club. I'm getting very excited. After being in leadership speak for a while, people have started to make large, huge goals because they see what they can do out in the real world if they really apply the platform of Toastmasters International, carve out that time to practice, to study, and begin to speak confidently and with conviction and credibility. What can they create is just amazing. Creating amazing, big, hairy, scary goals. That is why I'm here. The other thing that I'm here is I want to get even better and better at articulating my thoughts and ideas into a highly engaging message that makes an impact. What's in it for the audience in the end? Will the audience get something out of my presentation? Will they take away something from this presentation? Always. And I'm here to inspire, influence, and inform and persuade. Guess where it says if you've done your pathways, at least your level 1 pathways, it says somewhere in that level 1. Which level 1, which speech does it mention this? Do you know? Put that in the chat if you know. This one appears in your second speech, writing a speech. And in that writing a speech, it explains the 4 different types of speaking that you can do. Now, it's only at the second speech on level 1, but make notes. And then when you do your second pathway, when you revisit, incorporate that. Am I inspiring this in this particular presentation? Am I influencing in this particular presentation? Am I informing? Am I persuading? What am I doing in this presentation? Begin to think that way. In your first time round, even though it says there and you may not have fully able to grasp it the second time round in your second pathway, because if you want the DTM, you want to keep practicing, right? So you do your second pathway. Actually, I've done all the 10 pathways. I haven't done the 11th pathway, which is entertaining, but I've done all the others, and I've done them several times. Presentation mastery, I think this is my 4th time, actually, over the past few years. It's my favorite, actually. But I'm here to inspire, influence, and inform a large crowd in a stadium. And that's why I'm here to practice that. What is your why? Or do you have a why? So that in the real world, you can really excel. And last but not least, if you've done your first path when you're doing it the second time around, begin to enhance your critical thinking. Always think about what's in it for the audience. What am I putting together here? Am I creating something here for the audience to take away. Is there an audience takeaway? Especially if you want to be in contests beyond your club level and go on, you really always need to think about what's in it for the audience and have that as part of your presentation at the end before you summarize. And that needs critical thinking. And so I'm here to enhance my critical thinking and how I put together my content, including this particular content. It took me quite a while to put it together for this particular presentation today, right? So my return on investment is infinite. I want to pay $60. A lot of Toastmasters begin to diminish. It's only $60, $120 a year. If I was at a university or if I was in a professional speaking course, forget the university. It's probably $5,000, $10,000 for a year, unless you are a foreign student or doing a big degree in the USA, which I believe in the US is very expensive, right? But in Toastmasters, it is $60 in Toastmasters to be in a study group, to be in a Dale Carnegie or one of those professional courses, and a lot of professional speakers are offering that courses for $2,000 or $3,000, right? Here it's only $120 a year. And people tend to say it's $120, and then they'll come and speak 2 or 3 times, and then they won't be consistent, and they'll renew their membership, but will stop speaking, will not be consistent. The return on investment on $120 a year is tremendous. Consider that as a return on investment rather than it's just $120 and write it off. Don't do that. You are learning so much more skills here than you will learn anywhere else on the planet. I've been a Toastmaster for many years. I consult in large organizations. I work in as a coach and a leader, train people, but I don't diminish the value, right? And so you should too, not diminish the value. So here we go. In summary, therefore, what have you learned today? And you can review this video. It's live, so it'll be recorded on YouTube with all the mistakes I've made. I've made some learning experiences as I was going through. I said, okay, I should have done this, I should have done that. And so my next live stream, the way it's done today, will be different. And I learned quite a bit as I was watching the comments in the chat there, and how to interact with the chat and how to make the chat more live rather than there's a lag of about 30-40 seconds, how to make it more live. I just learned that today. As if I'm doing only live stream with no Zoom, I've learned what to do today. Okay, so in summary, this is the self-directed study group, and you need to have micro habits. All right, so make sure that you understand that you are in a study group. You're not in a club. Even though we call it Toastmasters Club, the reason why we call it a club is because how we collect the dues and remit to Toastmasters International, or how we pay directly to Toastmasters International, how the dues are collected. That's a legal term for this sort of a constitution. It's called a club. All right. So that's why we call it a club. But it's not a club. We are not clubbing. We are studying. It's a study group to study communication and leadership. Right? I need to connect the dots. What am I doing in Toastmasters? I'm really here to engage in a study group that will give me the skills that I can take out in the real world and excel in the real world. That is connecting the dots. And you need to connect those dots. And what is your why? Why are you here? I told you my why. There's a lot of whys as to why I'm here. I just want to be a great speaker and be a professional speaker. I'm already a professional speaker, but I want to become much, much better. Normally, I would stand up and do this presentation. Today, I'm sitting down and doing this presentation. I've done this presentation standing up as well. And I really had a blast doing this, standing up. Okay, so that is my why. You know my why. What is your why? Okay. And the return on investment, don't diminish that. Don't diminish the return on your payment of $120. Of course, plus you have to pay your club dues or whatever that is to maintain your club rent and expenses and whatever it is that you do, right? Which is a small amount. So your takeaways, what's your action? What are you going to do different today? Put that in the chat. What is different? So now remember, once more, before I leave, on July the 21st and 22nd, scroll down and register yourself. Any club can thrive, any member can succeed. I will be presenting on both days, just amazing information. And what will I do is I will speak from experience about what I found in my 29, 30 years as a Toastmaster. I've been a member for over a dozen clubs, some of them great clubs, some of them very small clubs as well. It's not just only big clubs. And then I've gone on to create some amazing clubs during the pandemic, back to back, that have reached one of the top 4 clubs globally. And Leadership Speak this year is the top club globally. All right. So how did I do that? Right. And any club can thrive. Any member can succeed. You come to my club, you'll see members are succeeding like it's just amazing. Okay, so Rosie will be presenting on Tuesday about pivoting from Toastmasters into the real world as a PhD in business administration, a managing director of a large coffee company, distinguished Toastmasters, medalist distinguished district director from District 114, and Tony Breshett, who is also a past district governor in District 86, a lawyer who knows everything about protocols, and Robert's Rules of Order and the club constitution. And he'll be talking about how rules enable you and pivot you to become better at creating amazing Toastmasters club rather than stop you in your track. People use rules to stop themselves in the track by assuming a lot of things. Actually, they are supposed to give you a springboard to do great, amazing things as a Toastmaster and as a club. So especially if you're a coach or a district director, or if you are a club executive officer, or aspiring to be a club executive officer, or you are a seasoned member in your club, you need to attend this. If you're a brand new member, you will get a lot of information as well to become a better Toastmaster. So please attend, scroll down, and register. Now remember one thing. Please subscribe to the channel. Right? Please subscribe to this channel. I will be posting some of the events that I'll be posting will not be live here. I'll just be posting information on this channel. So if you've subscribed and put on your notifications, you'll see videos from past world champions of public speaking being posted here, international presidents being posted here, and so on, and many other workshops. Okay, so here's the summary again. Be self-directed, right? It's a study group. Begin to have those micro habits, connect the dots to the real world. What is your why? And the return on investment is just infinite. What is your takeaway going to be? What did you take away today? Put that in the chat. Till then, talk to you later.